Speaker, I am on my feet at this dispatch box to ask the Minister for Finance the measures taken to close the USAID financing gap of 156 million following a directive from the President, which was communicated through a press release by the Minister responsible for government communication. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, given the reality of the funding gap of $156 million, the government would take the following measures to close the funding gap. Mr. Speaker, as part of the resources that will be made available as a result of the uncapping of the National Health Insurance levy, part of it will be used to close the gap created following the suspension of the USAID funding. Additionally, an amount of 100 million Ghana cedis is being allocated in the goods and services budget of the Ministry of Health under the expenditure line Global Fund. This will be used to procure vaccines that hitherto were being funded by the USAID. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker. May I know from the Honourable Minister how much is to be expected from the uncapping of the NHIS fund? Because, Mr. Speaker, the Minister is talking about decapping of the fund. Now, he should be able to tell us how much, as a result of the decapping, would be available.
Some coordination with the revenue authorities to get the figures. So he should ask the substantive question on the matter. But the Minister has it. So,
Mr. Speaker, this must stop. The majority leader has been using this to intimidate the backbench. He is a leader of this house. He shouldn't be doing this. And when it gets to the minority leader, he now takes the stage to be intimidating and directing. We don't know him as a bully. We don't know him as a bully. That's not his training. He should allow the minister to answer the question.
Well, honourable members, I believe the minister is capable of answering the question. So, honourable minister, just provide.
Mr. Speaker, the National Health Insurance Authority will be receiving in total an amount of 9.9 billion. The National Health Insurance Authority will be receiving in total an amount of 9.9 billion Ghana cedis for the year 2025. Mr. Speaker, this is because of the uncapping. The uncapping of the National Health Insurance levy has made available additional resources worth 4.2 billion Ghana cedis to the National Health Insurance Authority. Mr. Speaker, this is indeed enough for the National Health Insurance Authority to be able to include in their priorities the funding gap as created by the USAID resources. Thank you.
This government promised 1.5 billion for the agro sector and made provision for 924 million in the estimate. So don't let us go there. Mr. Speaker, don't let us go there. Don't lead yourself into temptation. The same thing with their big push. They should give proper assurances. They say one thing and do another. It's only talk government. They say women banking only gave 51 million. Women banking.
Minority Leader, your supplementary question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. They don't keep their promises. Mr. Speaker, I want to know from the Minister of Finance.
Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the minority leader should learn to behave properly in this chamber. He should learn to behave properly in this chamber. Please, let's treat each other with respect. Please, you cannot stand here and just point accusing finger and say they don't keep their promises. This is a government that so far has kept every promise that it has made to Ghanaians. Every promise that we have made to Ghanaians, we have kept. Every promise we have kept. We said we will appoint not more than 60 ministers. We have done so. We said we will do that. We said we are going to abolish taxes. We have abolished the taxes. Every single thing that we've said we will do, we are doing. Go out there and conduct a survey. Every Ghanaian you ask say that they have confidence in John Mahama and the government, and that they are happy because they have seen that this is a government that keeps its promises. So you cannot stand here and just throw your fingers and then point at us and say we don't keep our promises. The budget has just been brought. We have not yet even considered it. We have not yet even approved it for us to implement our promises. You cannot always stand up and talk as if you are more than anybody in this chamber. Make this your last time. Make this your last time.
Honourable members, the issue of keeping promise or not cannot be a supplementary question to question numbered C. So, Honourable Minority Leader asks a supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, the leader of government business, who I so much respect, was on his feet to mislead the House. He was not up on a point of order against a question which was yet to be asked. But he talked about proper behavior. But his
Honourable Minority
Mr. Speaker,
Leader.
I need to finish. Mr. Speaker, I need to finish.
Honourable Minority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, I need to finish.
Once again,
Mr. Speaker, I need
will
to
you
finish.
ask a supplementary question? Honourable Minority Leader, once again, will you ask a supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I am asking my supplementary question. However, I need your leave to respond to certain matters that have gone into the record of this House, which matters were raised by the majority leader. And it is my right, far right, to respond to these, because he introduced them. Mr. Speaker, if the majority leader talks about improper behavior, I dare say that his is worse. Because he's saying that his government has kept all promises. Even appointing ministers, you gave a promise last week. The 4 that are remaining, you are refusing to. You can't. Which promise have you kept? Which promise have you kept? You said 30% of women. Have you complied with affirmative action law? You come here and then you say you kept your promise. What promise have you kept? Then you say improper behavior. Yours is worse. Women in banking, only 51 million. Agriculture, the farmers, the poor farmers in the north, the poor farmers in the south. What promises didn't you give? Today, you only allocate a paltry sum for the agro sector. The 924 million, a chunk of it goes into compensation. What is the Minister of Agri going to do? A redundant minister? What about your big push? Nothing. And you say you kept your promise. You've not kept your promises. You've not kept your promises. This government is even becoming a lame duck. This government is even becoming a lame will see.
Honourable
If you
members,
trust
order.
I'm going to ask my question.
Honourable Minority Leader.
Can the Minister of Finance assure this House that true to his commitment in his own budget, he's going to comply with this funding gap? We want assurances because health matters. We are not supposed to joke with them. Is he going to assure this House that he's going to comply and there would be no story?
Honourable members, to answer the question, I think we owe it as a duty to set the record straight. Honourable members, I was part of the people who shepherded the affirmative action bill into law. Honourable members, if you look at the first schedule of the Affirmative Action Act, the 30% is a range, and the target was up to 2026. The law is very clear. Honourable members, the law is very clear. You can make reference to Schedule 1 of the law. Honourable members, so the information is there very clear in Schedule 1 of the law, based on Section 69. Honourable Finance Minister, you have the floor. You have the floor. Yes, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to use this opportunity to, one, assure the House that unlike the previous government that capped the National Health Insurance levy, we will not cap the National Health Insurance levy. And as such, the National Health Insurance Authority will have enough resources to intervene and be able to resolve all the challenges that has arisen as a result of the amount that is not coming from USAID. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, government has a responsibility, and it's not in our place to obstruct policy direction of the government. I am not opposed to the application to vary the order of business. However, there is a technical challenge. The technical challenge is founded on a precedence of this House, which precedence and practice we've all respected. That is to ensure that we do what we call a prelay of such important instrument, so that a broader stakeholder consultation would ensue before the actual laying is done. Mr. Speaker, if we pay due regard to Article 7 of the Constitution, this is what Order 11.7d provides. With your leave, I proceed to read the Constitution. Any order, rule, or regulation made by a person or authority under a power conferred by this Constitution or any other law shall come into force at the expiration of 21 sitting days after being so laid, unless Parliament, before the expiration of 21 days, annuls the order, rule, or regulation by the vote of not less than 2/3 of all the members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, on the basis of this provision, what it means is that if the paper is laid, the instrument is laid, and there is any amendment there too, it can be effected, and it will require a certain number as provided for to even annul or amend or do any other thing to it. So on the basis of this provision, this House reached a consensus that allows what we call the pre-laying to enable the committee engage further on this matter, so that when the final instrument, together with the minister, is laid, that is, they fine-tune it and it's laid, at least we know that it's gone through all the processes. So I shall pray you to place the application on ice for now, and rather direct that the minister goes through what has become known as a pre-laying ritual, so that after that the laying is done. Mr. Speaker, you can give them 14 days, 7 days, whatever, as it pleases the minister, to allow for that consultation to be done. That said, I am in principle in support of all steps that government intends to take to ensure that we preserve our forests and we deny some of those illegalities going on in our forests. Because I know that this issue of Galamsey, if not well addressed, it would lead this country to a place we don't want to go. And even so, some of these illegalities are getting into legally acquired mining concessions. And once these investors get affected and they lose their investment, they would see it as a breach of the law, and the state then become a victim because they will sue in arbitration, and it will mean that government of Ghana would have to cough for monies lost. So, Mr. Speaker, if government wants to walk the talk, I am all for it, save that I've given my reasons under the circumstance. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, this is